We have not rehearsed this, have we?
Not at all.
Well, there's nobody on here now, but welcome to our Deal Shredders series. This is going to be focused on, right now, our deals, and we're going to have other guests on here. We're going to interview them, analyze their deals, so hopefully everyone will find some value in the way that we find deals.
Absolutely. So Greg, tell me a little bit, what do you do in the Nashville market? What's kind of your niche? Because we all got our things that we're best at.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a licensed agent in the Nashville area since 2015. I'm going on 4 years. I have a retail side. I work with some buyers, mostly listings, and I do specialize in selling new construction and new renovations for investors.
Cool.
We do anywhere between 70 and 100 deals a year. I'm a buy and hold investor. I have some very small apartment units. I'm doing a couple new builds right now, and I've also invested private money in some of the deals and work with the marketing specialist with Rhythm Homes and Development. Cool. What is that you do exactly?
Yeah, a lot of what you're doing as well. I'm an agent. I have a company called Southern Legacy Homes with a few partners. We build, renovate, and develop properties in Nashville, specifically Davidson County. We have rehabs at all different price points and a lot of new construction, like 9 new construction in East Nashville,
Wow.
2 new construction right now and 2 on the market, one of which we're at right now, 2707 Meharry. And then we have a bunch of rehabs. We're kind of known for doing big value add rehabs, like adding tons of space and
Sure.
whatnot. I do a little bit of wholesaling, and then my personal investments and things of that nature. Love to do life coaching, things of that nature as well. So
I just want, if one person could just let us know that you could actually hear us, that'd be amazing. Maybe you could go upstairs with the computer, see if you can hear through the computer. But either way, David's being modest. I call him the Cleveland Park King. He's the king of the dadus. His product is amazing. He gets the highest price per square foot, and I just enjoy working with him. Good stuff. Anyway, we're gonna pick a deal. I'm gonna pick a deal. He's gonna pick a deal. Have you decided on your deal? You want to?
yeah, I have one. You want to go first? You want me to?
Go ahead.
Cool.
I'll ask the questions. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah. So we bought this house last year.
What is the address, if you don't mind?
It was 1000 Dew Street.
So you got 1,000 Duke. Let's just keep the names, I guess, out of
Yeah.
it. So tell me tell me about the acquisition of that. How did you what marketing did you put out there to get the lead?
Yeah, so ironically enough, we buy most of our deals off market, but this is one of the few ones that we bought off the MLS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most people say you can't find that many deals in the MLS. This was literally just sitting there, long days on market. I made an offer. We negotiated down. I think we ended up buying it for 150.
So 150?
Somewhere around there, 150, 155. It was an 800 square foot house. Needed a ton of work. It was on a lot that was a double wide lot, but it wasn't big enough to be able to subdivide. I'd gone down to planning and seen if I could do all that.
So just so people know, you say it's a double lot. Is the zoning a double? Is there an underlying lot line? What made it a double lot? Was it the square footage?
Yeah, so there was actually 2 lots, but they were running in opposite directions. So instead of facing the street, they were running in if the lots would have been like this, they were running the other way. So I couldn't revert back to underlying lot lines, but the lot was really wide. It was almost 100 feet wide. All the lots on that street were about 50 feet wide. So I was like, hey, maybe I can divide it.
What was the depth of the lot?
It was over 200. Maybe.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was a pretty big piece of property. Anyways, long story short, planning said we couldn't do anything else with it, but we decided. Because of the depth of the lot, we were just going to do a big value add addition, which is something we've done a lot of. So we took an 800 square foot house, we renovated it, we built an addition off the back and a garage, and we turned it into a 3,200 square foot house.
And what zip code was that in?
37206.
Okay, so you got it off MLS, and that's one of the last places you want to look at deals, but that strategy, finding stuff 60, 90 days on the market, it doesn't hurt to throw some lowball offers to test the motivation to see what the deal is. So that was...
Yeah, that's the rarity. I would say 95% of stuff we buy has been off market.
Sure.
I think we bought 2 deals on the MLS, and one of them was a bank-owned property, and then that was this one.
So you're a licensed agent.
Yep.
So did you put the contract on it yourself?
Yep.
As you're representing yourself and a representative, you put the earnest money down, you took the risk, you did the due diligence yourself.
Yes, representing myself in the sense of representing like our business.
Got it.
But yes, so then we got the property under contract. We closed on it and we started construction. And then at that point, it was almost like a new construction home in some sense.
So it was a renovation.
Renovation, but it was a large renovation. So we took 800 square feet, turned it into 3,200 square feet. And about 6 to 8 months later, we listed on the market. We sold at full ask for $683,000.
Damn. So what's that price per square foot? Do you remember roughly?
I think we were right around $210 a foot or so.
Okay, I mean, that's solid.
And so yeah, we built at a good price, and then we bought at a good price, and we ended up netting after everything was done over $150,000.
$150K. Sounds good. So we got MLS.
Yep.
Is there anything in due diligence that came up that, you know, maybe wanted you to back out of the deal, or something where you had to hire somebody to like help you out, or was it pretty basic?
One of the big things when we're doing additions or value adds is I'm always trying to get my surveyor out to the property as quickly as possible.
So a detached addition.
Well, no, it was all attached. Yeah.
So what do you need a surveyor for to do that?
Yeah, so I want to make sure that there's no easements or encroachments where the current house lands on the lot in regards to the property lines, because if we have setback issues, so in most residential construction, you can't build something closer than 5 to 10, maybe 20 feet off the side setback. In this zoning, you couldn't build it closer than 5 feet off the side setback. So we needed to make sure that we weren't having issues with side setbacks, and that if we did an addition off the back, that there wouldn't be any issues there. So I got a surveyor out there to check those details, and then went down to codes like I always do to talk with planning, make sure there's no stormwater issues that we're unaware of, there's no water easements or electrical or anything like that that would infringe upon like our building footprint for trying to do this big addition.
Cool. Awesome. So then so that price per square foot is obviously a higher price per square foot in the area. What did you do to add value to that property to make sure you got that price per square foot?
Yeah, so two things. We had a 2-car garage that was attached to the house. And sorry about that, guys, if you hear that in the background. And the second thing we did is we built the master suite over top of the garage with its own private entrance. So it was going to be an Airbnb play. So if you wanted, you could live in the master suite, or you could close it off and then somebody could walk up and like rent it out, and that would be a self-sustaining like income asset for the rest of the property.
So we have the addition on there that you can do separate entrance. Now, what do you think that would get for Airbnb? Did you ever talk to an Airbnb property manager like Brandon McSwain or any of those guys who do that? Just say, hey, what do you think I get per night, per month?
We did not, only because we were planning to resale, but the rough numbers for it in the area, it's a large room. It's 400 or 500 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a large master suite, huge closet, bathroom, bedroom, everything else. I imagine that you'd be able to get easily $100 a night off the room, if not more. And then at that point, if you're renting out for 15, 20 nights out of the month, you could make $2,000 or $3,000, which would offset your mortgage quite a bit. And we actually built 2 masters in the house. So there was that master over the garage, and then there was a separate master. So you could rent that out, or you could live in either one and basically be able to offset your mortgage.
That is awesome. By the way, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and type it in the comments. We'll get to the end of his deal. If there's any questions, we'll answer them. We'll get to my deal.
Yep.
So, okay, you got the renovation done. Is there anything crazy in the renovation that you could do differently so people could maybe go through the same thing, or was it pretty smooth? I know you're pretty good at the front end stuff. So, is there anything that hit you on the back end that you're like, oh?
I think we had some fun issues with codes people. This property was the side setback the house was literally like right at the side setback, and so this is why it's really important to do surveys, make sure that where you're building you're not going to have any issues. We had to go back and prove to the city that where we built the house was in compliance with where our site plan was, and it did conform to our site plan, and we weren't infringing on the side setbacks. They thought, and codes comes out sometimes and they see a fence and they assume the fence is the property line, when you and I both know that fences can fluctuate by 3, 4, 5 feet. So they saw the old existing chain link fence from the neighbor and thought that was the property line, and thought our house was about 3 feet off the property line. Oh. And so they were like, hey, y'all need to stop, all this stuff. So we had to have their surveyor come back out and show them all that, and just,
so you had to verify with the survey, like, this is really where the property line is. Sometimes the fence encroaches. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a fun little problem that my business partner Josh dealt with codes and inspectors.
Cool.
Every property has different things like that, though. It's just the nature of it.
So you beat through that. You get on the market, and tell us about now I know you list the properties yourself. Is there anything? Tell us a little about the marketing. How long was it on the market? What did you list it for? Is there any price? Let's go kind of like walk us through that.
So we listed it, I believe, for either $685 or maybe it was $683, because I believe we just sold it full ask. We listed it at $683. We were trying to push the price per square foot and the purchase price. Originally, when we bought the property, we were thinking we were going to sell around $620 to $630. So we're like, but comps did, Nashville's a great market, appreciation, everything going on. So comps had shown that maybe we could push that a little bit. So we said, hey, let's try to go for an extra 8 or 10% because we have the comps to justify it. So we listed it. We were on market less than a month, I believe. I think it was 3 weeks, and we got a full price offer.
So 3 weeks on the market, just to like kind of put a scale on that, do you happen to know roughly the absorption? Like, is that, we
were on track for sure. With that price point, most of the stuff is selling in the first 2-3 months, if not less. We were pushing the market in terms of our exit price, so we were okay with sitting for another 30, 60, 90 days if we had to.
Sure.
Because the upside reward of us making an extra $40,000 or $50,000 in comparison to our holding costs with our insurance, taxes, and interest for our loan was pretty small, and we had the comps to justify it. So we're like, we just have to have, like, we built a great property. There's a lot of value there. The lot's great. So we felt like, hey, we'll risk it. We'll push it out there and see what happens. And it was maybe March or April, I think, of this year when we sold that property. So we're listing it, good time of year, and it paid off. We got a great offer, and
cool.
We had very minimal repairs and things to do, and they closed quick.
So back a little bit, tell us a little bit about how you took down the deal as far as your money down, your financing, what type of loan, and how, because you just mentioned that you had it down pretty low because your payments were
not too bad. So we still do a lot of our business with some hard money stuff. Some of it's with bank financing, and then we have some stuff that's kind of in between. This property we actually bought with kind of transactional funding, which allowed us to get even better discount. And so we bought with transactional funding, and then it was like basically what we call a bridge loan, like just to get us to the next place, and then refied over into our construction loan at that point.
Gotcha.
And took us through the rest of the project.
So you took a transactional funding to close the deal. How long did you hold on? How long was that loan for?
Probably 45 days.
Oh, so you had a bridge loan for 45 days, and while you did that, you got your construction loan. Now, were you approved for your construction loan before you got the bridge loan, or did you get your financing for the construction loan after you had the bridge loan already in place?
Yeah, it was more so the latter. We got the construction loan finalized, but with that, that was more so we knew we were going to be able to get approved for it. We just had a lot of deals in the pipeline. It was one of those things like, hey, we just need to close and move forward and keep the ball rolling.
Sure.
Because what happens is when you get busy in this industry, deals continue to pop up and opportunities continue to pop up. And so it's just important to continue to move the needle. So we did that. We kept the needle moving, and then refined over and just kept going on. And we actually, even though we had the construction stuff, like we had all that stuff lined up before we even bought the house. Like we had plans and site plan, everything done. It was just kind of a waiting game and waiting to get the rest of the stuff done with the lender.
So, okay, so you got the financing for that. You get it under contract with your buyer, 3 weeks on the market. Tell us a little about the escrow period as far as your buyer, your end buyer for that type of product.
Yeah, thankfully it was a pretty simple pretty simple deal. We'd sell a lot of properties. Some, are more difficult than others. This was really straightforward. It's a renovation / almost a new build. So at that point, they're doing their basic inspection, which is going to include like making sure all the systems and everything work, which we're providing, warranty. And then on top of that, we take care of those details.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get through the inspections, it was pretty straightforward. They did the appraisal.
Obviously,
we appraised. We didn't have any issues. And then it was fairly painless.
How did you find that end buyer?
They had their own agent. They were just looking for the properties.
Cool.
He came in and he really liked the property, and that was that.
Sweet. And then you cashed in $150K off of that deal, and you took that, I'm sure, and rolled it into some other stuff, other projects, and just kept your business moving, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do we have any questions on these? Do we have any questions about David or anything that he did to get that deal? How he got the financing? Where we got the financing? How we got the acquisitions or anything like that? MLS deals. Looks like okay, cool. All right. Well, then you can still put your questions in later.
Cool. So, Greg, throwing it back around on you, the best deal you've done this year?
Best deal I've done.
It doesn't have to be the most money, but just like maybe it's the best of stories and all sorts of factors,
So there is one. It was a land deal.
Okay.
So there's my business partner on that deal was a friend of a friend, and we talked multiple times. He'd call me for advice, and we just never did a deal together. So one day I was like, hey, I've got $150,000, just like trying to figure out what to do with it. And he was just sitting in my office, and we're on tax record. He goes, oh, I got a deal. I'm like, what do you got? He's like, well, I have this lot, and I have it under contract. The acquisition for him was an estate.
Okay.
So he somehow got a hold of the executor. It was listed. They had to put it on the market so they could sell it. So he had that actually on MLS, but he didn't find it on MLS. They had to put it on MLS to satisfy the estate.
Right. That's pretty normal because most judges or lawyers or something,
they want to make sure they get the right
fair market value,
sure.
or give everybody an option to look at it and whatever else.
So he was already in that deal.
Cool.
So he had about 3 weeks to close, and he asked me if I wanted in on it. We were just going to split the deal 50-50 all the way out. I'm like, all right, cool. So this one was an OR20 zoning, and it's right at the end of where a shopping plaza was. It was OR20, and then it went to R6 with a different neighborhood policy over here, right?
So let's talk about, so for those that don't know, R6 is simply residential zoning, meaning you're going to build houses. OR20, guys, is industrial.
It's office. You could do retail, residential, and the 20 specifies units per acre.
Yeah, so it has to do with density. So
correct.
So the bigger that number, the more units you can build.
And this lot was a 40 by 150, I believe. So basically, the square footage would equal OR20 would equal 2.
Gotcha.
So the R6 is different. It's not per acre. It's 6,000 square feet for you to be able to use it for 1 and 2 family dwelling.
Right.
So we had an OR20, and then the rest was R6. So we were like, cool, we can do 2, maybe squeeze in 3, because it had alley access in the back. It was neighborhood evolving. So
which for guys that don't know, neighborhood evolving is a big deal because it's an overlay. Sorry about that, guys. It's an overlay that has to do with certain neighborhoods. You have what's called neighborhood maintenance policies, meaning the planning commission down at the codes department doesn't want to encourage density. They don't want to encourage changing what is currently there. They want to maintain that. The evolving policies is basically saying hey, we're encouraging growth, density, development. We want people to come in and spend money and make the area look nicer. So if you find properties that are in these evolving overlays, usually there's a value add play that can be profitable. So I'm assuming, was this one of those situations?
So this was neighborhood evolving. So we got the lot. I analyzed it like crazy. This is my first deal that I actually put money into, that I didn't partner on in some type of equity fashion. It was just straight up cash. So I analyzed the deal. I figured, okay, when I analyze it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to build on it. What could I do with it? How could I sell it? Who's the buyer going to be? If worst case scenario is, where am I at if we were to have to cash out and refi for rentals? What does that look like?
So there was a house there then already?
There was not.
So then you were just land.
It was land, and there was like a homeless camp on it, and they were having fires, and there was like needles and stuff. So it was sketch for sure. So
an up and coming area.
Yeah, up and coming. Very close, less than half a mile downtown view. So I had that value play also. So I analyzed the deal, and the next thing I know, I was just like, whatever, what am I going to do, lose it? So what I did was we just, it was $120,000. I just went down, cashier's check for $60,000, took possession, and that was that. So right away.
So both you and the partners just brought cash and closed.
Cash and closed. Cool. Got the deed. We went. We cleared. So we spent a little bit of money. We cleared it off. We got everything out of there. We got the cops involved to get people off of there. Cleaned it up. Fenced it in. And we were like, cool. So we got this lot. So in the meantime, with a year before that, I happened to get the owner. I knew the person who knew the owner of the lot next door. That was the R6, right? So we immediately were like, how do we find out who the real owner is? I knew they wanted to sell, but this guy was being real shady, didn't want to give us any information. So what I did was I just called my title companies to see if hey, did anybody close this? Because you could see it closed 3 or 4 years early. So you got to have the record somewhere.
And a little hint, guys, you can find a lot of the information on the deeds if you ever search deeds. A lot of times they'll say hey, this was done at this title company or whatever else. So you can call around, you can look up deeds. There's always ways to track down owners.
Call the title company, and they knew who it closed, and they also knew who the agent was who knew the buyer, because they were overseas, and I happen to be really good friends with the agent.
Perfect.
So called him up. I'm like, dude, look, we've got the lot next door. We want this lot, right? So they wanted an astronomical amount of money. Of course.
Everybody's sitting on gold in Nashville, guys.
So, we negotiated. We sent the contract with no contingencies, 100% earnest money, close in a week, no due diligence. We already knew what we wanted to do with it. So, long story short, we got a hold of them. We finally, after maybe 2 or 3 months, finally got the deal under contract.
So were y'all going back and forth countering, or they just
yeah, we were countering, and they would take a while to get back to us, and then we're like, yeah, fine, it's expired, here's a new offer.
Right.
Brand new offer.
We're going to buy this one way or another, let's just make it work.
Yeah, no agents, it was just pretty straightforward. They were going to net their money. It was $120. We finally got it for $120, and the same thing, we closed on it. So we're like, sweet, we got these two. I got an OR20.
Cash transaction as well?
Cash transaction.
Cool.
We had an OR20 and an R6, and we're like, we knew that we could potentially put these two together and rezone OR20.
Had y'all gone down to planning or talked to anybody at this point?
So planning was favorable. The council person was favorable also. But there was a catch. Not only did we have to do the rezone, we had to do a neighborhood policy change, which we'd never done.
So just for those that are watching, neighborhood policies have to do with every neighborhood is going to have its kind of community rules that they want to abide by, whether or not there can be the planning's vote to improve density, but if the community plan is they have rules that says, hey, housing can only be like this, then you're going to have to amend that in order for planning to get behind it and push it forward. So you at this point then have to go to the council member and have the council member put a proposal.
Well, we had to put the proposal, and we just knew that he would sign the bill.
Yeah, you need him or her to support whatever you're trying to do.
So a little bit about the rezone. Anytime you do a rezone in Davidson County, you got to go through 3 readings.
Yep.
The first reading is pretty easy. I believe planning votes on the first reading. And then the second reading is hey, if anybody's got an issue with this, speak now kind of thing, short version.
The public hearing.
Public hearing, and then if nothing happens there, if you pass second reading, your usually third reading is pretty good. And this is over about 6 months.
Yep.
So during the rezone, we had to make sure we sent out the mailers on time, and they don't always, it would be Monday for us to get the mailers on a Wednesday. So we'd have to haul ass to get their envelopes and get them all printed. Had to say exactly what they wanted to say. Make sure it went to 900 square. I think it was 900 feet this way, 900 feet that way.
I've done all of it.
Yep. So we got, so we had to do that twice because one for the neighborhood policy and one for the rezone. We had to pay the fees twice and everything. No big deal. So we're probably now $5,000 in soft costs
on top of
our purchase.
And you bought each lot for 120, so you're in it for 245-ish.
I think somewhere. It's actually a little less than that. I think there was I think one of them. Yeah, I feel like there was a little bit less.
Somewhere around there.
Sure. So we finally, while we're rezoning it, we're just like, we just sat back for a while, cut the grass, just like kept up with the neighborhood and stuff like that. Yeah, just maintained it, did what we had to do. And then finally, we got the rezone and we had 2 OR20 lots now. So now with the square footage, we actually were up the density to 5 units instead of 4. So if you think about it that way, building pads, everybody's like, 50 a pad's a pretty good number, 5 times 5, So we were like, okay, so we were thinking about, we were going to get ready to build it. No big deal. Cool. So one strategy that I like to use is put it on the market for a ridiculous amount to see if anybody wants it while we're getting our shit together, right?
Might as well. Like, if you'll pay me to walk away, I will.
I put it on the market for $525, which is like
105 a pad.
105 a pad, which is not unheard of.
Yeah.
Alley access, close to downtown.
Sidewalks
were there, and it's OR20. So
OR20 is Airbnb permit able.
Airbnb permit able. We can do like Highland Homes down on 2nd Avenue, had a 3-story like Airbnb apartments on top, mixed use on the bottom. You can do any of those type of things. So you had a lot of possibilities. So I marketed. All I did was I got the survey on the market. We took some pictures and like just kind of like put like what we think it could be, and it sat on the market for probably 60 days. And I'm like, all right. So we brought it down to 500. And then probably about 90 days in, 90 to 120 days, something like that, we got multiple offers all of a sudden.
Was this a certain time of year, maybe?
No, it was really, I think we're just bringing it down under that 500 mark.
And eventually somebody's like, let's do this.
So we had multiple offers, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe we ended up right around 475, but no contingencies, no closing costs, no commissions. We netted that amount.
Just done.
And it was like a really quick close. So I was like, all right, plan A, we're going to go with plan A. We put on the market, and so we got that money. And then what we did was we waited for it to close, and then we split the portions. I think we each got like 240, something like that each, 240, 250.
And you were each in it for about 125.
Correct. So we profited about 100, and so it was over 100%. It was 100, it's about 100% profit, a little bit more.
How long had you been in the deal?
So all through this, we waited to make sure we held it for at least a year to avoid the capital gains.
Right.
So since I held it for a year, I took my half and did a 1031 exchange. So I've never done that before. So I was at Rand and I met Jody from Apex, and she's like, it was so easy. All I had to do is pay $800 and put it in their escrow. So I was like, okay, cool, let's just do this. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to buy a $120,000 property. So I'm like, wait a minute. Why do I not just use these as down payments and leverage it and then do cash out of this again? So out of the 250, I bought a 2-build lot on Alpine Park, which I'm building right now.
Yeah. I
parked the 120, and I took the rest of that, and I split up the down payment into 2 fourplexes in Clarksville.
Yep.
So it was
Is that one of the fourplexes I walked with you that day?
Probably. Oh yeah, absolutely. The Tower Drive. So yeah, I was like 50 grand there, 50 grand there, fourplex. That fourplex was 240. I got it for 240, and that's a whole another story. I'd love to go that too if we have time. That for 240. Then the other one I got for 215, and the rents were the same. So they just need a little bit more work. But either way, threw the down payments in there. And then I got conventional loans on both. So I got 120 parked here, and then I got the 2 fourplexes with the rest of it there. So I'm like, okay, I got 3 turns, there's like 4 turns of that money now. So then we closed on all of them at the same time.
So it sounds like one land deal that you're just like, yeah, let's do this, turned into 2 fourplexes
and a 2-build lot.
And a 2-build lot. So
Yeah.
Catapulted, what, a year and 3 or 4 months later into 10 units, it sounds like?
It's going to be 10 units. 10 units, yeah. 10 units. 10 rental units. Different class, different everything. The ones in Clarksville, like the ones, the two. So the one I paid $240 for, it was a gentleman that I put a list of cold call lists together, 500 people, and he bought it he built it in 1996, paid like 18 grand. He had it ever since, and it was fully occupied. Of course, he took amazing care of it. Cut the own grass. He picked up the rent. So you got to kind of use your gut a little bit on this. Like, I don't recommend anybody doing this, but I put a no contingency contract on it immediately. As I want it. Here's my price. I knew I knew nothing would really come out of an inspection that would make it not happen. You know, roofs are good, ACs are good. It's a brick townhome unit. I'm like, whatever. What could go wrong? Toilet. We're talking about toilets and sinks now.
Yeah, and then I mean, you and I've been doing this a while. Like, there's sometimes you just meet people and you know they're like salt of the earth kind of people, and they're not going to screw you. They're not going to take advantage of the situation, and that changes like the way I negotiate with those kind of people.
Absolutely. So I met him, and I immediately gave him. Well, he wanted 242, so I gave him the 242. So met him out there, and we did the inspection. Right. I went through. I met the tenants. We went through the inspection, and there's always something, right? I think there was needed a new stove in one unit, a couple units needed some new toilets, and he just like, oh, I'll fix that. Now, usually in a real estate transaction, you're going to write up a repair amendment, or you're going to have something to lock him in. I'm like, cool, fix it, whatever, cool. If he didn't do it, I was going to still move forward on the deal.
Yeah, you were good either way because you liked the...
But he cut, the day of closing, he cut the grass.
Yeah.
He fixed everything without even me checking on him. He gave me all the tenants' contact information, and he passed the leases. And now I knew I was going to move forward. The inspection went good. I'm approved for my loan. Everything's good. I put my earnest money the first day. And the funny part is his daughter was an agent. So, of course, I'm like, oh, here we go. She's going to think, oh, you're going to get more money. It was awesome, dude. She helped facilitate it because he didn't use email. She helped facilitate it. It was just awesome, dude. They were like, well, thank you so much for all this. So then in the middle of that, I went and met the tenants, and I raised all the rents.
Great.
So I'd say rents in the area is probably $650 to $700. So I just went at $650. I want to go under market. I don't have to do any work to the units. So then I went and I got leases, and for $650, we went in, and I made them all sign the leases. I checked their smoke detectors, their fire extinguishers. This is all before closing. So the building was seasoned by the time I closed. You know, there's no seasoning period. So then we closed, and that was it. I hired a guy to cut the grass, and I got trash pickup. That's it. So that one was done. While I'm out there, it's 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I was going to meet the tenants. It was literally that morning. I get a phone call. This dude, Matt Hearn, is calling me, and I was like, who is this? But his number was on my phone, so I answered. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, hey, man. I'm like, dude, yeah, man, how's it going? You know, he's like, man, you know, I saw you been posting on Facebook about these Clarksville units. I'm like, do you happen to have anybody that's looking for some units out there? I'm like, well, I'm out here now. What you got? He goes, well, he had I think he had told 10 or 13 single family homes, and he had a fourplex. I'm like, oh yeah, tell me about the fourplex. So I'm in my car, and he's telling me about it. I'm like, what's the address? Put my GPS, and I drove there while we're on the phone. I looked at it, and I just drove by, and I'm like, I'll take it. How much you want? We negotiated on the phone. I still had to get back to where I was. I'm like, dude, this is a no-brainer. It's $215. You know, I was like, what could it need?
Right.
And then I went back home. I went and raised my rents at the one. Then I drove back home, sent him a contract, and I did not do a no contingency contract just because of the fact that I didn't walk the units yet and stuff like that.
So
I made it a really short, and I kept it. You know, I made sure he knew what was going on. I was buying this deal. If not, he was going to know right away. You know, I wasn't going to leave him hanging. It was another really good handshake deal.
So was he the seller, or was he an agent that was selling it for somebody?
So,
or signing it, or was it a wholesale? Or
he's a licensed agent.
Yep.
And he had bought this portfolio about a year or so before.
Gotcha.
So he was trying to reduce some of his assets. It was his risk.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So he had a bunch of single families too, and I'm not into single family, so I sold One of those is somebody else, and I listed like, I think I just now got the fifth one under contract, this fifth single family. So I bought one, and we're listing the rest. So it's like, you know,
I'm just phone call you made a lot of money off of.
You got to answer your phone at 7 a.m.
Absolutely.
On a Saturday. But anyway, so like he helped me out substantially through like strategies with the rent and stuff like that. Because I've never been a landlord before. I'm telling you, like,
and he's been managing all that stuff for the last
He's been managing it. He's told me everything he knew. And also, to back up a little bit, Will Barr, he substantially helped me too. I mean, like, he helped me with the leases, how to market, like his strategies, because I had no idea. Sometimes you just got to jump in, figure out how long you go, the numbers working. But I'm telling you, your network is really your net worth because of them. Like, I was able to do this, and they're still there for me. And I'll do anything for them. I mean, it's just like to have that kind of relationship. But anyway, so Matt was amazing, helped me out through that. So this was a different type of building. It was a townhome, but they were up and down. So after I closed on this one, there was already one vacant unit, so I renovated that right away. Matt gave me his contractor, solid contractor. I think the full renovation, appliances, flooring, and everything cost me like $8,000 or something like that. Yeah.
Not Nashville numbers, guys.
Right, not Nashville numbers. So of course, what do? I get professional pictures, what nobody does in Clarksville, and I used I painted the front door and just stuff that people do here, kind of bring that feel. And the rent in the area is $600 to $650. That first one I got $800. Next one, same thing, $750. So then I have another tenant now who's very low under market rent, and I'm torn if I want to raise the rent because she's an amazing tenant. She's just awesome, right? So I don't know what I'm gonna do there. Then I have another guy who's paying like really low under, but he's a mess. He's late. So I just sent him a letter saying, hey, we're raising the rent from $500 to $650. If you want to stay, it's $650. If not, you got to go.
This is all in the same 4 units, like with the one of the units is $8, one is $750. Like, it's all the same complex.
Yep. So eventually, I paid $215 for the unit, and I will end up with about an average of $725 a unit on that one.
It's a good return, man.
Yeah. So you're like $240, $215 plus the renovations. We're looking at like 5 something. And they're heavily cash flowing.
Yeah, you got 8 units that are each making.
Yeah, Sunny, my right hand person, who's happy anniversary 1 year with me today. She's like me. She likes to figure things out. So her and I kind of started our own like property management. How we just we just figure it out. We just use logic, research, and people
jump
we know.
First kind of thing.
Yeah, I just set up a little property management where we got the email and the phone, where everything's streamlined, and so far it's pretty good.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So dang, that's pretty impressive because you turned like one phone call that was kind of just an estate thing. Yeah. And then it's just a domino effect from that into 2 lots, then with the rezone, and then that into
And the 2 lots, I am now just with Jeremy Lego with Highland Homes, where he's hopefully, if I get my HPR recorder, we'll pull the permits next week.
Cool. And you're building 2 like.
So I'm building. I use a 1031 exchange, so I cannot sell these properties without paying a ridiculous amount of taxes. So the only way I can really get paid is to do a cash out refi. So I'm in the dirt for 120. I'm building the same homes that Rhythm Homes builds next door with their plans. They work. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I got the appraisal back yesterday for $360.
Nice.
So I'll probably be able to pull out out of the 120, the original 120. I'll probably be able to hopefully pull out between 100 and 120. So I'll get it all back, and then I can do it again.
So you'll have no cash in the deal.
Yeah, it's a burr basically. I'm burring the land instead of the.
And what are those houses like? 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
15 something square feet, 3 2.5. Open floor plan, downtown, gorgeous views, all that stuff, off West Trinity.
Cool. Yeah, I've been over there. I've seen the lots. It's a good location.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Do we have any questions about that?
No questions.
Nobody wants to ask questions.
It's okay.
Maybe we're explaining ourselves too well.
Yeah, it's okay. It's the first time we're doing anything, and I don't know. It's okay. Why don't we show them around the house?
Ooh. Yeah, why don't you tell a little bit about whatever you want to?
Yeah, so if you're watching or if you see this later, guys, we have a beautiful modern house in North Nashville, 2707 Meharry. We have an A and a B unit. They're side-by-side detached HPR. Each unit is roughly 1,900 square feet. They are listed for $383,000. A few really unique qualities about these. I almost never see an HPR with a downstairs master. So we have a full downstairs master. There's plenty of entertainment space between a living room, a dining room, and an eating kitchen area. And we have a bonus loft area upstairs. And then, like I said, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
What was the price point?
$383,000. We are the cheapest thing in the area on the market. It's just north of City Heights area, if anybody knows where that's at. So yeah, why don't we do this? We're gonna grab the
we're gonna grab
the camera and we'll show them around.
Sweet. There you go, David. I will follow you around, sir, if you like.
Cool. So, few things to note. Like, this is the front door when you first walk in. It's really cool. You have a 2-story ceiling. So these ceilings are 8 feet tall. You have this. We'll put the little microphone. 2-story ceiling, and we have a living room. And then you walk in, you have the kitchen. It's kind of this open concept modern with a dining room. We have a full appliance package included. We did something really cool. We're not doing all the white cabinets. We have these painted gray. So it's still this shaker style. We did the subway tile because it's always classic with a gray grout. We painted all the doors in the house blue, so it's really cool.
Navy blue. It's hard to see, but it's blue.
It might look like a black, but it's actually a really dark navy blue. The door on the left is a half bathroom. The doors on the right, that is our laundry room. And then we have a nice little eat-in dining room. And if we walk to the back side, we have this hallway. This leads us out into the backyard with private parking. But this is also where the master suite is. It's off the back side of the house. It's really rare, guys, to have a downstairs master, and it's secluded. Full bathroom with a toilet room and a big walk-in closet. We have the floating vanities, guys.
Yeah, those are sick, bro.
These aren't seen in a lot of construction at this price point at all. Usually you're seeing floating vanities in like really high-end modern stuff that's mid-4s to $500,000, if not more.
Huge closet.
Huge walk-in closet, guys, with built-ins. Yeah. Tons of space.
That's sick.
So yeah, and then upstairs we have a bonus loft area, and we have 2 bedrooms and a full bath.
Alley access in the back.
Alley access with parking. Fenced-in backyard. Let's see, what was I about to say? We did hardwoods in the entire house, guys. There's no carpet anywhere. We don't believe in doing carpet. You won't really ever see it in any of our projects.
Yeah, I hate carpet.
And we did like a natural wood finish. So these are red oak floors with a poly stain. So it's really, really great entertainment area, guys. Like a bonus loft.
Huge area.
Put a couch, table, TV, all that stuff. Great for having guests and stuff over. I mean, you can look over the edge and see everything down there. So really cool like entertainment option. And then if we're heading back here, we have a full bathroom again with floating vanity.
Yeah, I wish you could. I don't know if you can see that blue door, that navy blue door. The gray looks sick.
It's really, really pretty. Callie, who is our co-listing agent, one of my partners, she did a fantastic job on the design. The bedrooms are all great sizes, guys. Honestly, this is a big bedroom, big closets, plenty of storage, lots of natural light. Like I said, hardwoods throughout. We have ceiling fans in the bedrooms as well. And then this would be the second bedroom as well on the back side of the house. So.
Yeah, there's your alley. Tell us a little about the area, Dave. Where are we located downtown? What can you tell us?
Yeah, if you're going down Jefferson, and you keep going down Jefferson past like DB Todd, and real close, honestly, over next to we're pretty close to the medical university, within like a mile or so.
Mary.
Yep, Mary, thank you. We're just north of the freeway, about a mile north of where like City Heights, if everybody knows where City Heights with Clifton and that whole area is going on. Mm-hmm. So right over there, we took an old house that was in really poor shape and tore it down, and then built 2 units. Same floor plan, little different features in both houses.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, look, this is our first deal shredders. If any of you guys out there have some deals that you want to
breakdown for everyone, or any deals you want to present, or some questions for us, feel free to reach out. This was fun. We hope you found some value, and we look forward to Deal Shredders number 2.
See you guys.